Sup, dude? Hey, beautiful people. Sorry, Chandler. Sorry, bud.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon.
Removed a baseball-sized tumor. It was gross. Still debating whether or not I'm going to post it on YouTube. Every time I post some graphic stuff on YouTube, doesn't seem to get a lot of views. A lot of people can't take it. It's not super graphic, but it is cutting out a tumor, so there's that. Also had the red female. Here, you can see that. The red female squam that I got in last week. That is my buddy's import that he's gonna put into his collection. Popped out a bunch of little nuggets. So now, typically for a squam, you're gonna have a birth rate of like, I don't know, 12 to 18 babies per female. The one that you guys saw last time, that small black female, gave like a couple of slugs, like 2 dead babies, 2 stillborns, and the one little tiny munchkin. This one, off the bat, gave 4 stillborns and 3 healthy babies. But right when my buddy brought those snakes over, I told him right off the bat that the one looked in really rough shape. I said I didn't have much faith that she was gonna make it, but that I would do everything that I could to try and get her through everything, to get her good so that he could put her back in the collection. And it was one that he was really excited about. He has a thing for the brick red squams. Unfortunately enough, just as I thought, the snake being gravid and then at the same time being shipped overseas and going through that nonsense is very stressful for the snakes. So when you have a snake that's already gravid and then put in a stressful situation that far along in the pregnancy or the process, however you want to say it, a lot of people say pregnant and or gravid meaning an egg layer, pregnant meaning, you know, it's giving live birth. But whenever they're going through something like that, and a lot of stress is going on, it can be bad. Generally speaking, when you have a snake that is like in the beginning stages of that and nothing is really fully formed, but the follicles are fertilized and she is trying to produce those babies, if it's soon enough, the snake will resorb all of that. So essentially, what I'm saying is that it all goes away. It absorbs back into the body. No harm, no foul, the snake does well. Once it's past a certain point, the point of no return, then any stress or anything that's going on in the snake's life can potentially be harmful and even cause death, which in this situation it did. She had given me 4 stillborns and 3 really good looking babies, but I had my suspicions and I really didn't think she was gonna make it. My suspicions were true. She didn't make it a couple of days later. She did pass on. Now, I did a necropsy. For anybody that doesn't know, a necropsy is essentially when we open up the animal to try and find out what is going on. And my suspicions, came out positive. It was exactly what I thought it was. Again, something else that I wasn't going to post on YouTube. If you guys want to see the necropsy and you want to see what went on, it's very interesting stuff. It's great to learn this stuff, to kind of see why things happen and start to understand all of the elements that go into reptile keeping. It's not as easy as some make it seem, where it's just, you make an enclosure, you have enough space, you provide what they need, and that's it. There's all these little variables, little elements that go into it that can cause damage to your animal, that can make your animal sick. You have viruses, you have disease, you have too much humidity, not enough humidity, environmental things that you're trying to accomplish in your enclosure that you can't, and there's 1,000 different ways to deal with these things, as well as, you know, certain times of the year. Are they eating? Is it normal that they're not eating? Could it be that the enclosure itself or the environment that it's in that's causing them not to eat, or is it just something normal? Is it breeding season? All of this. There's so much that goes into keeping a reptile that a lot of people overlook. A lot of people think, you know, you put it in there, you feed it, and if it's not eating, something's wrong and you're doing something wrong, which is not necessarily the case. So like my aim, I guess, with these videos is to try and get people to dive deeper into all of the situations that can occur or that you can cause that can put your animals in harm's way, or things that you can do to make the animal's life better. So if you guys want to see the necropsy, shoot it up in the comments, and I'll decide whether or not I'm going to put that out there so you guys can see exactly what went wrong, and you know, basically what the inside of the snake looks like, so you can see what you're dealing with in there. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people see that stuff. So that has been my aim since the beginning of this whole passion. My father was the same way. Like, we didn't want to just keep the animals. We wanted to give them the best life that we possibly could, recreate the environment they have to the best of our abilities, and also log, track, research, and study everything that we had to try and find out all the ins and outs, not just feed it a meal and be done with it. So moving on from that, like I said, we did a lot this week. We had the surgery, we did the necropsy. We have a new little friend that we got here from the same guy that I've been taking care of this from. He did me a huge favor and gave me something. So this is going to be really cool. I'll show you guys this right now before we get to feeding. I'm going to feed this one too here. So, ooh, a little feisty little booger. Feisty booger. Okay, so this is an eyelash viper. It is a yellow eyelash viper. The eyelash vipers come in a number of different colors, much like the squams, but not as many different colors as the squams. You get some pink ones, you get some yellows, you get some, you know, yellows with no bands, banded yellows, Christmas tree they call them, where it's like pink and green at the same time, patternless green. Not quite as much variation as the squams go, but dude, these, here, let me see that. I'll get you guys a close up here. These were my favorite snakes growing up. I used to bother my dad on a constant basis to get one of these. And they call them the eyelash viper because obviously you see right there that they have the eyelashes. Now, it's not the only viper that has that little crest above the eyes, but this one was coined the eyelash viper right there. But you can see it's a gorgeous snake. Now, these guys come from South America. Generally speaking, when these guys come in, it's usually from Costa Rica that they're coming in. There is only one guy down there that does it. They do not come in very often. It's actually more rare than people give it credit for. And, you know, in the last 10 or 15 years, that's been the only ones that come in, the ones from Costa Rica or whatever's captive bred here in the States. So this guy right here is a new blood. And these guys are from Nicaragua. It's a Nicaraguan locality. There is a guy that used to do this way back in the day over there who has since come back on the scene and has been pumping some of these guys out. So, like I said, the guy that imports still, the buddy of mine who I take care of all of these things for so he can put them in his collection safely, gave me this as a gift, and I appreciate it very much. Thanks, El Jefe. So we're gonna feed this guy here, and then this will be cool too, because I wanted to show you guys when I did the bioactive setup for the spear point leaf-tail geckos, I wanted to show you guys all of that and what goes into it. So now, after this guy, after 3 weeks to a month, when this guy's all quarantined and ready to go, and I'm 100% sure that the snake is gonna do well, we'll go ahead and set up that bioactive setup, take you through every single step, why we're doing it, what we're doing, so if you guys wanna replicate that yourselves at home, you'll be able to do that. So let's get into this. We're gonna try and feed these babies. It's a super pain in the ass, so it's 50-50. Some of the babies will eat well right off the bat. Some of the babies are a pain in my ass. So what ends up happening is either they're gonna eat on their own, or I'm gonna have to help them along for the first month or so, which basically means we're gonna force feed as gently as possible. It is a tiny little snake. So as small as these guys are, let me see if I can find something as reference. Okay, so here is a little Gatorade bottle cap that comes off of Come here, you bastard. Comes off a little tiny Gatorade bottle here. So you can see the size difference between the Gatorade bottle cap and the snake. So you can imagine how difficult it would be to get this done. So a lot of people will start these guys off on rat tails. I'm not a huge fan of the rat tails. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. A lot of my friends do it, and I don't disagree with it. Just for me, I like to start off with pinky parts and then move as quickly as I can to more of a chunk of pinky. There's just a little bit more nutritional value when it comes to that. If you've ever seen a rat's tail, it's not the most nutritional thing in there, but it's also not terrible. You're gonna be able to get your snakes well started on a rat tail. So again, not a bad thing. So for any of you that are out there that do this already with small snakes and do the rat tail thing, keep doing the rat tail thing. Like I said, it's not gonna harm you one way or the other. It's just something that I prefer to use these pinky parts instead. So I'm gonna choose the big fat guy first because I got a sneaky feeling that he's gonna probably do well. You know what? The countertop is kind of cold, so again, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've said this in a video before. Don't catch your venomous snakes. What I just did, I knew I had the paper towel, but if I just had my hand, unfortunately enough, sometimes you gotta let it go, but I don't want the little guy to hurt, so, you know, just be careful with what you're doing. Don't catch your venomous snakes with your hands, man. I promise it ends bad. Every time. Every time. All right, little guy, it seems like you want to go first, so I guess we're gonna get you first. So little Mohican right here wants to really go for it. So as small as these guys are, they're super tiny, right? You would think that these guys probably wouldn't do a whole lot of harm. On the contrary, these guys will fudge you up. If you guys watched my last video with the squams, there is no anti-venom with this. And right now, being quarantined, coronavirus style stuff right here, you don't want to get bit by any venomous snake, even a little tiny guy. So it wouldn't kill you, but I'm sure it would make you wish you were dead. And at the same time, oh, there we go. Give me that bite. Rah, 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 rah. Rah, 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 rah. So I could probably, actually, you know what I'm gonna try and do here? I'm gonna try and do a pinky head, or at least half of a pinky head, because it'll probably get stuck in the little dude's mouth. These guys are a little bit bigger than I thought, so he could probably handle that. So what I wanna do is get him to open it real wide like that, and oh, come on, big guy. Real wide, come. Now I'm gonna stay perfectly still in hopes that the snake isn't an asshole and will swallow the meal that I have given him. Please, snake, appreciate what I have just done for you. Take it in. There you go, bud. There you go. Here we go. Right off the bat. That's what I'm talking about. So what I'm gonna do, actually that might be enough for the little guy. So generally speaking, I will follow the meal in with another meal, but that actually might be enough for his first meal. So you never really want to shock the system. So he could probably do a little bit more than that, but at the same time, like, you know what, I'll probably follow it in with like a little chunk of fucking, follow it in with a chunk of butt here. So if you do it carefully enough, you won't spook them and they'll just continue to swallow. So you're not really putting any stress on them. Trying not to shake for you guys. It's fairly difficult, I'm sorry. Look at that though, look at that little dragon head. Beautiful eyes, working the teeth great. basically they're using those fangs to walk that prey right into their mouth. So one fang in front of the other, one goes, the other goes, and they're essentially just pulling it right back. And then they're going to use the muscles in their neck and body, and they'll twist sideways, make a little S motion, and essentially, you know, send that meal all the way back. There you go, big guy. That's what I'm talking about. Little homie right here is sending it. All right, let's see how the other ones do.
Yep.
All right, so got one down, 2 more to go. Start with a pinky hit on this one too. This is the largest of the babies, so I want to believe that he'll be just as easy as the last one here with not much work needed, but this is usually not how it works. The ones that I think are going to do really well don't, and the ones that I think are going to do terribly usually do really well, because that's the way life is. Okay, now we're starting to get over a little reaction. Guys, too, if you're doing this or if you ever have to do this, you have to be very careful. You can crush this little snake, so you got to just small, tiny taps. Come on. One more. One more. And what I want to do is I want to try and make it as easy as possible for his first meal. So I want that mouse head to be going in first, tapered off to the back. There we go. Getting stuck on my damn tweezers. See, I told you, the ones that I think are going to do well are the ones that are a pain in my butt. So I think he probably would have taken that, but it's getting stuck on the fleshy meat, the wet meat here, making it difficult because every time I pull the tongs back, it's coming right out of his mouth. And I want him to bite it and hold it. Come on, bud. This is going to be one of the troubles. All right, so this is a good hold. Hold on, don't move, camera person there. This might be the one. Once he realizes what's going on, he should start working it back. If I see him start to flare and move side to side and keep trying to open his mouth, and that usually means he's going to try and spit it out, but they'll usually have done that by now. There we go, bud. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna try and zoom into his face so you guys can see the fangs here. What a gorgeous shot. All right, so you can see if I can get it more to the front of his face. You can see he'll work the fangs one after the other. Here goes the left, now the right. So far, it's a good set of squams. It's okay with the babies. I feed a lot more often than I'm going to feed the adults too. You never want to power feed, so you don't want to just shove food, shove food, shove food, shove food. You got to have a rhyme and a reason for what you're doing. You have to think, okay, so as a baby snake, especially at this size, in the wild, these guys are going to pretty much grab anything they can get in contact with. You know, at any time that they can. They don't know when they're going to get another meal. So generally speaking, they're going to probably eat just about every day, every other day, and they're going to be eating, you know, insects, small lizards, geckos, things like that. So what I usually do to try and replicate that process in the beginning is I will feed a tiny, tiny little baby like this, very small meals, and I'll do that once every 2 or 3 days, and I'll do that for about 3 weeks to a month. Once they double in size, I'll back that down and kind of level out my meals a little bit and get a meal size that they can handle, but also one that will make it through the week. And then I'll switch to once a week feeding. And then once they get to an adult size, then I'll slow it down. I'll usually do about 1 feeding every probably 14 days. Because you never want to overfeed your stuff. You want your stuff to be lean. You don't want an overweight snake. You're just cutting years and years off the animal's life. So far, this litter of babies is doing phenomenal with no help needed, which is awesome. I don't like to force feed if I don't have to, because it's stressful on them. It's stressful on me too. So these guys, now that they're eating, we'll probably set all these guys up together in a critter keeper until they're a little bit bigger. Let me get my thing ready here. All right, so to cut down some time on this video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna feed this guy, I'm gonna feed this guy off camera. We'll let you know if it worked out. If I have to force feed anything, obviously, I'll show you guys that, but if it's just regular like these two, we'll leave it at that. And then we'll cut back to this guy right here, we'll feed him, and we'll be fucking done for the day, bro. Yes. I've been here for an hour with this snake. Finally starting to work it back. I figured I would have more problems with this one than any other one because it came from that smaller black female that we didn't even think was gravid. So the snake is like very tiny, even for the baby. And I think tomorrow we're gonna go ahead and make them a new enclosure. They're big enough, they're doing well, they're eating well. I don't have to worry so much about them. Oh man, I think I ruined that whole shit. All right, dude, so I'm gonna check and see. It's probably gonna be a big meal for this guy. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this thing in half for the first meal that I give it, just to see how well it does with just a half a meal. We are almost done here. I got one more thing to feed. Just a little new eyelash viper. Comment down below. How do you guys like the new viper? Again, probably 3 weeks from now, maybe a little bit sooner, depending on how the snake is doing. I'm gonna do some swabs. Once I do the swabs, if everything is fine, I'll probably just go ahead and do the bioactive a little bit sooner, especially because she's gonna be in the enclosure by herself and not around anything else that's gonna be affected if she does have something going on. So I think that's gonna be a lot of fun, but let's see if homegirl will. Oh, look at that, dude. Oh, this is easy. I've had a lot of issues in the past feeding eyelash vipers, and these ones that come in from Nicaragua seem to be just beast mode all the time. All right, so once she starts working those teeth back, and I know that she's swallowing the meal, we'll go ahead and end this video, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to tell me if you guys want to see the necropsy video, and then after that, I'll decide whether or not I'm going to post the tumor removal video. Let me know if you guys want to see that too. But lots of new videos in store too. Got a surprise animal for the park. I don't know if I said that, but I'll say it again. Surprise animal came in for the park. Super fucking adorable. You guys are going to love that shit. So that'll be coming out soon too. Going to do another live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Live stream tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So if anybody didn't get to see it last time and didn't get to be a part of the live, 8 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow, we will be doing that video. And she's eating. There you go. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, all in all, everybody ate. I didn't have to force feed anybody. Fantastic sign. I could finally move these guys out of their little bins, put them in an enclosure together, a little communal shit going on. We're gonna see if my homie's gonna wanna take these babies home or if he's leaving them here or what's the deal. Stay tuned. Boom!
Will you find me? Hope you find me. I'll be back home soon. When the sun rises, when the sun